Hello and welcome to this Final Boss Fight Tech Ninja Tales. My name is John Gotobed. I'm Final Boss Fight's resident Tech Ninja. And before we get going too far into new stuff, I've got some improvements I've made since last episode. The magical blocks really weren't working for the farm, so I put up some walls, I put up a ceiling so that moonstone can't fall on my farm. Internally it's still working basically exactly the same as it was last time, it's just that it's now with fancy walls. That means I can put the piping under the ground, and so all of the power supply is now going underground, all of the cable, all of the item ducts from these three interfaces goes under the ground. And basically what I've done, the problem was that the export bits were getting overstuffed with wheat to go around to the final one. So now each of these interfaces is exporting one thing, and I've got item ducts running down under the ground. Each of these export one thing, and each of these can only accept one of the things that's being exported, so there's no problem with it overflowing. They actually are the same pipe under the ground, it's just that they're going from three different exports. I've input sewers into this pen that the animals are standing on and pooping into, and so that's coming up to this composter here that collects up the sewage, and every so often it exports into this interface industrial fertilizer. You can see the sewage pipe down there. That interface is programmed to keep the seeds, so obviously anything that isn't 32 seeds gets taken straight into my ME network, and that is getting exported round to here, round on the beef nuggets. Beef nuggets. That's getting exported around to here, where I have another interface that is requesting industrial fertilizer and exporting it into this fertilizer. So basically every time that there's a bit of industrial fertilizer into the system, this thing gets fertilizing, and it fertilizes the carrots and potato field, which is why we've suddenly got so many carrots and potatoes. And then round here, back this way we go, I have replaced the hungry chest with a vacuum hopper that is set up not only to import foodstuffs, but it also takes XP in and sends it to the tank in the basement. And then round here obviously we've got these barrels. I'm thinking of moving these. I've got a nice plan for them. It's just that it's going to be a bit resource heavy, and so I kind of want to do some gathering of things before we get that going. I have set up the quarry again, so we've got some more resources just flowing into the system. And then before I did this session, I went down into the mines and did some serious amount of mining. So down in the basement we've got this nice tank that is starting to actually fill up with liquid experience, because it's not only based on my personal gain of experience, but it's now being filled with the experience from cooking the meat and also occasionally breeding the animals. And then here we have a mob essence tank, because the sewers collect mob essence now. So if the experience orb falls into the sewer rather than the vacuum hopper that's in the animal pen, it gets put into this tank, and this tank I can start to use to spawn animals using Mind Factory Reloaded. I think that's the only... Basically what I'm planning to do is switch my ME assembler chamber and these barrels, so that I just have a massive wall of barrels on this side, with storage buses on them. and then out here I'll just pump the items into one of these interfaces under the ground rather than into these barrels here. And I might set up the same with the farms on this side. In here I've set up the ME condenser, which is basically just a giant dustbin with a storage bus that accepts any of these items. Now I've set up priorities so that the first priority that they go to is obviously their barrel down here, or their the chest here for cobblestone. But if those things fill up, the next priority is the condenser. So at the moment you can see this cobblestone flickering. That's because it's getting immediately exported out here, and we get energy buildup. I can use that to make matter balls, and I can use that to make a singularity when I have the resources to actually make a storage cluster, which is the highest tier of storage cell. But I don't have that at the moment. But for today I'm going to start setting up a new mod. I say a new mod, I mean IC2 experimental. I want to get a few machines running from the IC2 thing. It's got an ore tripling mechanic, or an ore increasing mechanic, that slightly works better than, slightly more than double. So I'm going to get basically, I'm going to put in some geothermal generators. I'm going to put in a CESU here. I think I'm going to have to run the power cables under the ground because I don't know if there's a way to cover them in the wall. And then round here we've got extractor and metal former. That's a new machine that they've just added. I don't know if I'm going to add more machines to the IC2 room, other than the trio of ore processing and the extractor to make sure I get plenty of rubber. But things have got very interesting with IC2 in that someone else has taken over the mod, and so things have got, I don't want to say harder to make, but some of the recipes are a bit more complex than they used to be. Some of them have got a fewer steps. There's no more need for refined iron, which used to be one of the big sticking points in setting up a IC2 system, is that you had to go through and you had to double. There we go. So I need to make a generator, which means I need to make an iron furnace, which means I need to make iron plating, which means I need a forge hammer. So there's all these new machines. This is a new tool, and so to get iron plating, I just whack iron with the forge hammer, and I'm going to be doing this a lot. I'll just make a stack. Yeah, why not? Toss that into there, and geothermal. Wait for the NEI to catch up. Anytime you want. There we go. So I need to make an iron furnace. Toss a furnace in there. One iron furnace. How do I make the RE? Oh no. See, that's the sticking point. The empty cell I can only make by either extracting a compressed air cell or extruding in a metal former. So I need to make a metal former before I can make a geothermal generator, but I can't run a metal former without making some power. So I need some tin item casing. and insulated tin. I need to make a cutter and tin. RE-BAT. Battery. I need a tin plate. Okay. So to get that I need to cut a tin plate. Make a few of those as well. And then do I not have any rubber? Boy. So to also make the battery, I'm going to need some iron or tin item casings, which means I need to hit. I have some of those, don't I? I made some extras. Where's my? Why isn't it put my? That's one forge hammer used up. Don't know why any eye's misbehaving. This is the other reason I really want to make a metal worker. They don't explode after so many uses. Right, one RE battery, so does that mean I can make the generator? You there, there we go. Right, so I'm going to pop this down. And that can be the first in the bank of generators. I'm going to get a CSU and some cable set up. I will be right back when that's done, guys.